we decided to do with the design of our studio is it's actually one big room rather than have a bunch of like a control room and a bunch of other rooms and break it up. We actually wanted to have a studio that was just one big space where we could rehearse, record, and it was really, there were no walls, so there was just this really open flow, so we can actually perform, quickly run over to the system and do different edits or everything we want to do. So that was a conscious thing that we did, and we wanted a space that just was aesthetically pleasing. We put a lot of time into making it look nice, because it's something to creating in a nice space. Because before that we had kind of a cluttered little quote-unquote bedroom kind of setup where it's always you're kind of struggling to find enough room to do anything. So that's kind of the design of it. It's wooden floorboards. It's a lot of absorption and treatment on the walls and ceiling. So acoustically, it sounds really nice. And gear-wise, we've got a bunch of nice mics, a bunch of Shure mics and other mics, and it's a few nice preamps. So we do most of it in the box. So we record it into Logic, and that's how we work.
We're happy to keep producing ourselves, and we're keen to keep doing it that way. But I'm sure Keith's got and we've got guys, if they would like, the dream producer, and if they were to be interested and want to, work with us, I'm sure we'd be happy to work with them.
I mean, the thing is that I feel like we've got a good flow when we work in our studio. So I think the only reason we would bring another producer in would be if things felt stale or we felt like we wanted to change things up a bit. We've got a lot of stuff I want to get out, I think, to be honest, the way that we're doing it at the moment. So, I mean, I think the next album we'll produce that ourselves again. We might do a few songs with somebody maybe just to sort of test the water, but not at the moment. We don't plan to get other producers in.
What do you think makes a good producer?
Somebody who is able to hear the potential in a song and hear where the artist wants to take it, and maybe gently kind of pushes them in certain directions, but is respectful of the initial intent. Something that, someone who's really kind of not going to go in there and impose their own sound upon a song. I think it's just kind of getting the best out of a particular band. We had a lot of reservations about signing with labels because there's a lot of horror stories out there, and growing up being fascinated by the way our favourite bands kind of their careers played out, and you hear about these bands that they sign a bad deal and it can really affect the creativity, and they get forced down sort of the wrong road as far as what the music, etc., to create quote unquote pop hits. So I mean, we were very nervous about that, but in the end we did sign with a major label. We signed with Warner, and so far I think it's been a good decision for us because they've been really respectful of allowing us to produce it ourselves, and to continue doing what we were doing before we teamed up with them. We had a bit of a dream run in that we put a song out, didn't expect anybody to ever hear it, and then within a few months we had 30 record labels contact us. So I mean, you couldn't hope for a better few months. So that whole thing was pretty good.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did you guys put music on hold to go back to school?
Yeah.
For a little bit?
It wasn't on hold. We sort of scaled back the amount. Instead of, one day a week, we would, focus in the studio. I think it was Wednesday was the day.
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday would dedicate the studio day. But we'd sort of, scaled back a lot.
And then in between, like those days when, we'd be studying, I'd kind of work on some of the songs on my own. So, but we definitely weren't doing as much for a while because we just thought it was just a bit of we weren't being responsible, being musicians.
Do you think that having a little bit more time to learn and mature was necessary and helpful for where you are in your music career now?
Yeah, I think that I think it's good to have some time to work out exactly how you want your music to be and to experiment with certain things. And I mean, it really is. It's ever evolving as a band. I mean, I'm sure every band who's playing this festival, there's always you evolve, and what you do one year, the next year you would do differently. So that first few years of kind of just spending the time to write. I mean, that was a conscious decision as well. We didn't want to we'd had other bands in the past, and like everyone, you just go out and play shows, and it's really about getting the songs right first, because I think that's the most important thing. it is a lot smaller than you would expect. Like the music industry, not so. I mean, there's a lot of bands, but the music industry is a lot smaller. Everybody seems to know everybody. That was really amazing to us. That we'd meet somebody in management or whatever, and then we'd meet someone else on the other side of the world, and they're like, oh yeah, I know so and so. So that was surprising. And a lesson is always, no matter who you're working with, carve out time to really focus on the music, and there's a lot of other things that can distract you from, like, doing interviews, that kind of thing. No, just kidding. But there's a lot of other, being in a band, there's a lot of other things that you have to do. You have to tour and all that sort of stuff, but focusing on having time to write and is the most important thing. And always make sure there's enough time to do that.
You're listening, kids at home.
Yes. Don't stay in school, get in a band. That's the lesson here.
So many parents hate us right now.